All right, guys, we're back for another time of review. Let's look at some things that are going to help us. Now, this is getting more into the algebra portion of the actual test. It says a number was multiplied by -5 and decreased by 8. The result was 42. What was the number? Okay, so we got to think this through. It says a number, so let's take the number n. N was multiplied by -5. So let's multiply it by -5. So now we have a -5n. And decreased by 8. So now we're going to decrease it by 8. We're going to subtract 8. And it says the result is, so the word is means equals 42. The question is, what's the number? So I have to solve this. -5n minus 8 equals 42. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add 8 to each side. And when I do that, I'm going to have a -5n equals 50. What do I do now? I'm going to divide by -5. This cancels and becomes n equals 50 divided by -5. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Since one is positive and one is negative, the answer is negative. So my answer is -10. Guys, you're going to have several of these on your test. You're going to have several. You're going to have to stop, think about what it's asking you. Okay, let's look at another one. By the way, there are several in your book that you can practice on. If you need answers to them, all you have to do is text me, say, hey, Ms. Turner, I practiced these problems. Give me the problem set, the numbers, and I'll shoot you back the answers, okay? So you can make sure you're doing them right. If 3x plus 2 equals 11, so write that. What is 5x minus 2? Well, I have to solve one equation in order to solve the other. Which one do I solve? Solve the one that has the equal mark. So I'm going to say 3x plus 2 equals 11. Just focus just on that. How do I do that? Well, it says to add 2, so I'm really going to subtract 2. So I have 3x equals 9. Okay, it says to multiply by 3, so I'm really going to divide by 3. This is going to cancel, leaving me x equals 3. That's not my final answer. X equals 3. My question is, what is 5x minus 2? Well, 5x minus 2. That means 5 times the 3, that's the x down here, minus 2. 5 times 3 is 15, minus 2. My value is 13. Make sure, I had somebody do this on the test the other day. You gave me this answer. You stopped at x equals 3. Okay, don't stop at x equals 3. Make sure you give me the value. Okay, I'm going to turn this so that you can see our problems. We're talking about the first one we're going to add like terms. Now, for some of you, you can look right at these powers and you don't have any problem with it. Others of you have problems with it, so you need to break them apart. It doesn't matter. Okay, if that's fine, if that's what you need to do for now. So, if I'm going to break them apart, which I'm going to do, for those of you that find this a little harder, I'm going to say S, K, K. Why? Because I have K squared. That simply means K times K. Okay, here I'm going to put this in alphabetical order. Plus 3K, K, S, all right, then I've got plus 2 S, K, K. All right, now what can I combine? I can only combine those that are the same. Okay, so I have 1 S and 2 Ks. Here I have 2 S's and 1 K. I cannot combine that. I have 1 S and 2 Ks. Oh, this one and this one are the same. This has 1 S and 2 Ks. This is the same. So now I look at this and say, this is 1. How do I know it's a 1? Because it doesn't have a coefficient. So this is 1 plus 3, which is 4, plus 2, which is 6. So I have 6 S, K, K, plus 1 S, K. Now I need to combine those back, not together, but the terms. This needs to say 6SK squared plus S squared K. All I did was say, oh, I have two K's, I need to put a 2 exponent, okay? This, by the way, this up here is called adding like terms or combining like terms. This is multiplying. This is using your distributive property. We're going to say 4mn squared times n squared. Okay, what's the coefficient? 1. Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4. M, there are no m's over here to multiply, so I'm just going to bring it down. Now I have n squared and n squared. How many is that? That is 4. So I have n to the 4th plus 4. This coefficient is 1 again. So 4 m and m here. So I'm going to put m squared. Now I have n squared times n. That becomes n cubed. That's all there is to here. But there's a y left. I still have to bring that y down. Now I say 4 times 3, and I get the coefficient of 12. And then I say m times m squared and get m cubed. And then I only have the n squared, so I'm going to put n squared. Okay? That's my answer to the distributive property. Now, so far, we've talked about decimals, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing decimals, rounding decimals, turning decimals into scientific notation. We've talked about fractions, finding common denominators. We've talked about ratios, using cross multiplication to set up an equation to solve. We've talked about equations, solving equations. We talked about the powers of operation, do the orders of operation, doing powers and exponents first, and then multiplying and dividing, then doing our adding and subtracting. Today we talked a little bit more about putting words into algebraic sentences. Then we talked about taking those algebraic sentences and solving them. Then we talked about what if, a two-step problem. If this equation is true, then what's the value of the second? Everything we've gone over so far is going to be on your test. Then we talked a little bit more about combining like terms, then using the distributive property. Remember, use the distributive property when we're multiplying, okay? Again, I know I've said this earlier. I know I said this yesterday. I feel like a little bit of a repeating record here. But if you have questions, I desperately need you to send those to me, okay? Because this is your last chance, okay? This is your last chance to get everything that you need to go into this final. I need you to understand your final counts 2 test grades. It is longer and it counts more than anything else that you've done this year. It counts 2 test grades. So it's very, 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 very important that you understand how carefully you must work on this. All right? Have a good day, guys.